Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone is safe and staying sane. Today's topic will be about what are the common mistakes that you can avoid when building an e-commerce website. Before we start, I would like first to thank the TRA for giving us the opportunity to be part of the TRA Virtual Academy. And of course, I would like to thank them for all of their effort and consistent effort as well that they are putting in order to make this webinar and course very seamlessly working. Now, let me introduce myself. I'm Emmy El Asmi. I'm the project manager in Creative 971. I've joined Creative 971 team in February 2019. Being a fashion designer helped me as well in developing a detailed eye to design UI UX e-commerce website, aside from project management. Now, let me first introduce you or give you a small and short and quick introduction as well about Creative 971. So we are 100% e-commerce experts. We have developed cutting-edge websites for innovative retail brands. And aside from e-commerce, so we are a web design and web development agency. Creative 971 is owned and managed by German siblings, Julia and Nico. That's Julie and that's Nico. The Creative 971 was founded in 2016 as an e-commerce agency, which is purely working on Shopify and Shopify Plus platform. Shopify Plus platform is a platform for enterprise companies. The number 971 here, as you can see in our logo, this was chosen due to our commitment and deep gratitude towards the UAE and GCC region. I just want to wrap it up very quickly. So aside from e-commerce, web design, and web development as well, we've hosted several Shopify Plus and Shopify e-commerce. Shopify Plus e-commerce, we usually do it once a year, and regular Shopify conferences, we do it twice a year. We have as well our online training course. Our online training course was launched in September 2019. It is actually a full e-commerce blueprint program within our region. We are honored to say that we are partnered with TRA, TLZ, delivery and logistic partners as well. We do have payment gateway providers. So we make sure that we are developing or providing our clients with everything from A to Z. Now let's dig in. Today's topic, as I said in the beginning, it is what are the common mistakes that you can avoid when building an e-commerce website. So just to break it up, what we will be discussing, we'll first be discussing the 15 biggest mistakes to avoid when building an e-commerce website. The second point is that, of course, we will show you some softwares that you could immediately implement in your website to benefit from this course. And at the end, we will be focusing on targeted users via localization. We've discussed this point in our previous course, but it relates to this topic, and we will just bring it to you in a different perspective. Now, just to give you a small introduction and a brief, what is an e-commerce website? An e-commerce website is electronic commerce, or EC. So it is the buying and selling of goods and services, or the transmitting of funds or data over an electronic network. You're all using e-commerce services right now, especially now, due to the current situation, we're not trying to leave the house, so we are purchasing everything online. That's an e-commerce platform. And this is actually where the world is moving towards. So the world is moving towards digital world. Everything is being digitalized. So you could as well digitalize your business, and e-commerce is a type of a digital business. These business transactions occur either as business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer, or consumer to business. Let me give you a quick example, just so you understand what are the difference between both. So business to business, let's say if you would like to sell your products not to a regular customers or not to a regular consumers, let's say you're selling it to another business so that they will sell it to customers, or they will use it in bulk, then that's business to business. Business to consumer is the one that you regularly use, like Noon, like Namshi, whatever e-commerce platform that you are using, that's called business to consumer. Consumer to consumer is if a regular consumer, so you're purchasing, the consumer will first purchase from a business and then they will sell it to consumers. So they're not having the items in bulk. Or consumer to business, it's the opposite. So sometimes in souk as well, or where you're having multi-vendor, it's consumer to business. Sometimes consumers do sell stuff to businesses. So before you decide to have an e-commerce website, you need to know those terms as you would use it in the future, and you need to decide as well what type of e-commerce business you would like to have. Now, before you actually have an e-commerce website, or even those of you who have an e-commerce business, it's very important for you to know the mistakes so that you could avoid them in the future. This will help you to build a successful e-commerce. If you don't know what mistakes occurs or what other e-commerce websites are doing in a wrong way, then your website won't be that successful. So the first point is that you don't have a plan. It's very important to have a plan when you decide to start any business. A lot of users think that e-commerce, as it's digitalized, they don't need to actually have, a complete plan of everything. They think that they just need to have their website ready, they'll go live, and then they see how it goes. But that's not a successful way to have an e-commerce business. So when building a website, it is the same idea as opening a store, restaurant, or any other kind of business. You do need a plan. You must understand your target audience. It's not only about your business, but as well, in our previous course, we've explained the importance of understanding your customers. So you need to understand your target audience. First of all, you're not selling to everyone. Of course, at the end of the day, you will just have targeted customers that you would like to focus more on them in order to have an efficient e-commerce website. So you need to know who are you targeting. Your USP. What is USP? USP is a unique selling proposition, which is your positive point or the thing that you would like to sell. Let's say, just as an example, if you are selling socks and let's say it's a waterproof socks, as an example. So your USP will be the waterproof socks. Why? Because it's something unique that the users and consumers won't be able to find in any other website or e-commerce. USPs could be as well as free shipping. You do offer free shipping. That's a unique selling proposition. If you are selling hair extension, then if the hair extension is damage free, that's a USP. So whatever thing that convince the user to sell more, you need to highlight it more in your e-commerce, as this will help the user to purchase your item easily. You need to know as well how you are going to promote your website. So it's not only about having an e-commerce website and that's it. You need to promote it. You need to deliver your website, and you want to make sure that your website will reach to as much consumers or as much visitors as possible. And you need as well to make sure how to convert your customers into buyers and further growth. So each stage of developing a website needs a lot of research, and without doing this, you will be blindly building a website and hoping that it is what your audience wants. As I've mentioned in the beginning, you need to have a plan. It's not only about developing a website and then that's it, we're done. That's not the case. You need to have a plan, you need to study, you need to sit and spend time before you actually start your e-commerce business. Not having a website plan is one of the biggest mistakes to avoid when building a website. So that's very important. Point one is you don't have a plan, so you should have a plan to actually have a successful e-commerce business. Let's go to point two. Point two is an inconsistent domain name. So let's say if you're having a website that you would like to sell in the UAE and you are selling in the KSA, let's say you're having several subdomains, you need to make sure, even if it's only one domain, you need to make sure that the domain name is very easy to remember for your customers. So when choosing a domain name to represent your online identity, it needs to be relevant to your business and easy for your audience to remember. So basically what users do, they just use the same as their account or as their brand name. So their brand name is actually the URL. The domain names that are most memorable are typically the most successful. So, solution, how to do so? You need to do your research and find a domain name that defines your business and is consistent with your online messages. So you actually need to do your research to have a consistent domain name. So let's show you an example. In this example, we are giving you an example of Oud Milano. Oud Milano remain consistent on their store domain by adding a prefix according to the country of their store. So let's see. So that's a website that we have actually built. You can see they're having several stores. Look at the domain. It's uae.oudmilano.com. Very simple. For the Kuwait, it's kuwait.oudmilano.com. So all different stores are very simple and easy to remember. Even it just needs common sense for you to know what is the URL. So it actually does not require a lot of work from your customers to remember the domain. So domain, it's not something that only appears in the top bar. It's something very crucial and important that you need to consider while building an e-commerce website. Point number 3, cluttered homepage. Homepage, you need to think of a homepage as if it's your storefront. So when you have a store, you design your storefront in a way that it attracts your customers and shoppers and people walking in the mall. The same thing here in an e-commerce. So homepage, just consider your homepage is your storefront. You need to make sure that it's very straightforward. You're having a lot of other sections in your website. That means that you are linking different pages in your website through the homepage. Homepage should be enough to explain to the customer what you're selling and what they should expect in your website. When looking at mistakes to avoid when building a website, having a cluttered homepage is definitely one of them. As there is so much content online, website visitors have little to no patience. So if the first thing they see when they come to your website is a cluttered homepage, then they will go before you can actually show value. So your homepage needs to be very straightforward, needs to be simple and to the point directly. We don't have to see a lot of things happening. As an example, when you log in or when you just visit any e-commerce website, you see a lot of pop-ups coming in your way here and there, and there's just a lot of things happening in the homepage. You won't understand what to do. You'll just leave, and then hence, as a business owner, you've lost a customer, and it's not only one customer, there are a lot of them. So let's see an example of a well-structured homepage. That's a website that we have developed as well. Let's see it together. So you see the homepage starts with a video. We do have text. We do have a button, a shop button. Below that, it's very simple. So everything is designed and it's presented in the website in a simple way. So there are collections. We are having banners that links to another pages in the website. We are having products. So everything is covered in this page. When you visit this page, you know that this business, they do have a quiz, let's say to help you pick up your best coffee. They do have a shop by coffee color, which means that they will give you information about the different colors of the coffee. They are showing you different collections and as well products. So from the homepage, you can see what kind of product. You could even visualize the product, how it looks like. So that's an example of a well-structured homepage. So a solution is to keep it super simple. You need to kiss it, means keep it super simple. Point number 4, slow servers. So if you're having a website that is very slow, users won't enjoy the journey and they will just bounce back. So they won't even continue visiting your website and they won't purchase anything from your store. So you need to make sure that your website is fast. How? Having a slow servers means that your website loads time will be negatively impacted. So it should load quickly. It has been reported that on average, a potential prospect will wait for a website to load for just 4 seconds before bouncing. So when I first open a website, and if it gives me this loading icon more than 4 seconds, 4 to 5 seconds, let's say, I will just leave the website. So I won't even stay. And hence I've bounced back. You've lost me as a customer. That's only because of the loading speed. How to enhance this? So what actually affects the loading speed? Things that affects the loading speed could be many things. The main important thing, or let's say the most thing that impacts the loading speed of your website is images and videos. So the size of your images and videos need to be web compressed. Every picture that you upload in your website, make sure that it is web compressed. We don't want to have a pictures with 1 MB in your website that's totally huge because you're having a lot of other images, and hence it will just slow down your loading speed. And that's something that we want to avoid to have a successful e-commerce website. So after the course, just spend time checking your e-commerce business, go through each and every page, check the pictures that you have uploaded. If the pictures uploaded in your website is more than, let's say, 350 to 500 kilobytes, then that's something that we don't want. We want it only to be within this range. So the pictures should be in a range between 350 to 500 KB. 1 MB images, that's something that we don't want to have in our website, so you need to web compress it. Of course, you need to consider that the quality of the picture shouldn't be affected. So you need to look at the size of your images and widgets. So it's not only pictures, widgets as well. We will show you and we will explain what are widgets in the coming point. The widgets you are using, or let's say the plugins, should not be much. So you should make sure that all plugins and applications you are using in your website, it does not impact your loading speed much. And even the hosting plan you are. So where are you hosting your website? The hosting plan should be functioning very quickly, and it should have a high loading speed. Point number 5 is not thinking about mobile. A lot of people, when they start building a website, they just focus on the desktop and they don't focus and consider mobile designs. So they will just design the website as if it's on a desktop, and then they will just resize it, or in a way they will just make it it will function the same thing in the mobile. That's not a smart thing to do. You need to have a mobile responsive website, not only in the functionality point but even in the design point of view. It is one of the biggest mistakes to avoid when building a website. Over 60% of all online searches are now through mobile, and 80% in social media. So you can see social media, people use social media through their mobile phone. So when they check social media, they will then click and go to your website. They'll be redirected to your website through their mobile phone. Other thing, when you want to search about any brand or any item, studies have shown that 60% of all online searches are within or are done from a mobile. So you should change the way how you think of e-commerce. E-commerce should be built as mobile first and not desktop first. Swarovski, it's a website that we have built as well. As you can see, the desktop is totally different as the mobile. Why? In the desktop, you will have the text and button on top of the hero banner. However, for the mobile, it's below that. Why is it developed this way? We have developed it this way to make sure that the images are visible and it's mobile responsive. All of those pictures in the desktop, they are actually built in a way that in the desktop you are having the text on top of the image, but in the mobile we try as much as possible to not have text on top of the images, to make sure that the pictures and everything in the image is there is a good visualization in the website. You could have good imagery as well in the website, and the text is very readable. Another thing in here, let's say if in the desktop you are showing 4 products per row, in the mobile we usually keep it, we reduce that into 2 per row. Why? Because you need to think and put in mind that users are using their thumb to scroll. It's not an arrow carousel. They are not having any arrow carousel. So when they scroll using their thumb, they shouldn't click on something by mistakes. That's something that you need to consider while designing and developing a mobile website as well. So it's very important to think about mobile. That's a very important point to consider. It's not only about choosing a mobile friendly template, as I said, you will need to think about how the layout of your website translates to mobile. So it's not only about mobile friendly, the design should be adjusted to be mobile responsive UI and UX wise. You will need to think about how the layout of your website translates to mobile so that it is giving the same seamless journey. Solution, so how to avoid this? When building your website, always look at it through mobile to make sure that the message translates. You need to check your website using your mobile phone. It shouldn't be only mobile responsive, but also it should be responsive with different screen sizes. That's things that you need to consider while building a website. It's a very important point. If you will have and if you will make sure that your mobile version is very responsive and the layout is to the point, then trust me, you will see a lot of improvement in your e-commerce business. A lot of people, when they visit a desktop website, they're happy with it. But when they see the mobile, it's not convenient for them, and they won't purchase any more from your website. Mobile is something that it's always in your hand, and it's always in your consumers hand. So they would, if it's mobile responsive, they will be able to purchase whenever they feel that they want. It won't require them to open the laptop to purchase. If your website is only desktop responsive and not mobile responsive, then you will lose those kind of customers. So as you can see, the mobile experience, that's actually a screen recording from our portfolio. If you go to www.creative971.com, you will see several case studies. You could see the product page, the collection page, everything is developed in a way that it should be mobile responsive. Now let's go to point 6. Point 6 is ineffective use of widget. If you remember in point 4 here, we've discussed that solution to have a solution to avoid slow servers is to look at the size of your widgets. What are widgets? Widgets are plugins that you are using in your e-commerce website. So it could be some of the business owners usually use plugins or applications for reviews, let's say, for your loyalty program. A lot of applications that you usually can use to enhance your website. That's something very good, but you need to think in a way that you can only or you should only upload and download, use those plugins and widgets only what you need. Meaning that if this plugin does not serve your business in any way, don't just download it so that you can see how it works. At the end, it will leave some code in your website that will affect your speed, number one, and number two, it may mess up with the functionality of your website. So you should only use plugins that are, that will benefit your e-commerce website. Widgets, which is also called as plugins, they are great, but only have the ones that actually do something for your website. With WordPress, for an example, they have thousands of widgets that you can install, and this may seem great at the time. It's good to have a lot of widgets to install, but you as a business owner, you need to be smart of picking only those that make sense to your business. The more you install, the more impact it will have on the weight of your website, and hence the server speed will be less, and that's something that we are trying to avoid. So to solve this, or a solution for this problem, is only add the widget that you know you are going to use and will help you grow your business online. When choosing a widget, make sure it is responsive. It should be styled to match your website and secure over HTTPS. So it should be secure. The style should be as well, it should match your website. That's something that we always, as a company, as Creative 971, consider when using any application. When we are using any application, we make sure that we change the colors, the fonts, and everything of that website of that plugin to match with the website style. So you don't want the customer to feel that you are just bringing something from outside and having it in your website. You should give them the feeling that everything is unified, and hence, even if you are using plugins, you should still do a bit of customizations if you want to have a very successful e-commerce. And as well, don't use a lot of widgets that does not actually add any benefit to your website. That's something that you should consider when building an e-commerce website. A lot of clients or a lot of business owners usually develop their website. The website is working and functioning extremely good. The loading speed is very good, but at the end, let's say after a few months, they will, when they research more and they will read more articles about this application and this application, they would like to try it. So they will upload it or they will integrate it into their website, but at the end they will notice that this application does not actually serve their needs, so does not serve their business needs, and hence, you've downloaded that, they would like to delete it. Even if you will delete it, you need to check your backend codes. Why? Because some applications leave back codes in the back end that affects the website speed, it affects the functionality, and it may interfere actually with your website coding. So that's something that you need to consider. Let's go to point 7. Point 7 is forgetting the importance of a contact page. Now, having an e-commerce website, it's not only about having responsive website, a fast and quick website. It's not only about your product and how you market your brand, but if a customer does not feel comfortable contacting you and does not feel that he could reach out to you whenever he wants, he would feel insecure to actually purchasing from your website. One thing that I usually do whenever I purchase, let's say if you consider me as a regular consumer, when I check any e-commerce website, the first thing that I do, I check if it's easy to contact them or not. Why? Because in the future, if I would like to return an item, if I faced any problems with the delivery, I need to secure myself and to make sure that I could reach them easily. So if a website or an e-commerce business does not have a contact page, that's something negative. So you need to make sure that your contact page is easily visible in your website. Users should find it easily without spending a lot of time searching for your contact page. So this have been seen repeatedly, which is why it was included in the list of the 15 biggest mistakes to avoid when building a website. Having a contact page on your website is so important. It's very important to have it, as I've explained. If a user wants to contact you, but they can't easily navigate or find your contact page, they will leave. Even if I have a question about a specific product, your contact page should be easily visible to me so that I can reach back to you very easily. I could reach out to you easily and I could clarify all my concerns and get all the clarifications that I want easily. Having a contact page on your website is so important. If a user wants to contact you, but they can't easily navigate or find your contact page, they will leave. As a solution, you need to make a contact page, so make sure that you have a contact form in your website, and you have it on the menu bar, it should be linked in the navigation or in the footer. It should always keep this information up to date. This information should always be up to date. So if you have changed your email, please make sure that you update it. If you have changed your contact number, make sure that you update it in your website. The store location, everything should be mentioned in the contact page. So let's see the screen recording. That's a website that we have developed, and you have seen it as well in this presentation, but we will show you the contact page and how it's actually easily accessible. So you can see when you click on the menu, you could see the contact page. You see how large the font size is. So it took me a few seconds just to find the contact us page. Everything is mentioned in here. So it's not only a form, they've kept for me an email that I could easily reach to them. So I could just write them an email if I'm not feeling comfortable filling the form. So that's something that you need to consider. Point 8, putting your wants before the user's need. We all want our website to look amazing, have the best functionality, and compete with our biggest competitors as we think. This is what will get us sales, but in actual fact, this is far from being true. So it's not only about your competitors' research and what you want. You need, when you are building a website, you need to put your audience needs before what you want, because at the end they are the ones who will be purchasing from your website, and they are the ones who will make you successful. So a solution, you need to do your research and find out what is your targeted audience and what do they want from a website. Combine your design and aspiration in this with this in mind. So you need to combine your use. When you do your research, you need to think of what your users actually need, and hence this will help you build a website that is very useful for your audience, and your audience or your customers will then be happy, and hence they will purchase, and hence your brand will expand and be successful. Point number 9 is broken links. That's something that messes the website up. So if 404 pages are asking for your website, if you are having 404 pages, then it's as if you're asking for your website visitors to just leave your website. That's something that we don't want. So when building your website, you need to make sure that all the links are linked correctly. All links in your website are functional. As you can see, we don't want to see this. Now, it could still happen. It could always happen that you will have a 404 link page. Users could have a very unique searching experience that maybe whenever they click something, they will just have a 404 error page. There is still a solution for this, but you need to minimize it by making sure that you're doing your part. You need to make sure that all of the links are functional. Aside from that as well, you should include contact the webmaster. So in the 404 error page, include your email so that your users will actually send you an email that this page is not working properly, and hence you could directly work on it and fix the issue. Poor quality visuals. We see this time and time again with websites, and it's one of the biggest mistakes to avoid when building a website. Now, yes, I've informed you that you need to have your images web compressed, but you should as well have the visuals, or the picture quality should be very high resolution. How you do that, there is something called web compression. So you are web compressing the images just to match with the size that any website would need. That's something that you need to consider. So it should be web compressed and not just reduced in size with a poor quality visuals. You need to consider that having a website, meaning that your customers are not able to actually see your item. So they are not able to touch the item. So you need to make sure that the product images and whatever pictures you have in your website is having a high quality images. If you are going to use visuals to display your content on your website, make sure that they are high quality. Solution: if creating visuals are not something that you have time for or you can do to a high standard, just find an agency who could actually enhance your images quality. It's something that you need to spend more time and effort on it, as that's something very crucial in your e-commerce website. This is something that even if all of the other points are functioning, or you have avoided all of the other points, poor quality visuals means that the product won't be clearly visible to the client. Your users won't be able to see the product in a very clear way, and hence they will have doubts whether, if the images is bad quality, then how will I trust that you will send me a good quality products? Let's see the screen record of a website that we have developed. So that's a fine jewelry, especially when you have a fine jewelry website, especially when you are selling expensive products. You need to make sure that the visuals are high quality. The jewelry, even when you zoom in, it's not pixelated. So that's something that you need to consider. Point 11, no search box. A lot of users, they would prefer just searching with the keywords that they want. And if you don't have that visible in your website, it will be a hard time for them to find what they need, and hence they will just bounce back. So your website will be in a sense an archive of information. So if a user cannot navigate through the use of a search bar to find the information they want, they will not spend their time scrolling through your website trying to find it. So a solution to this is to copy the HTML code from your control panel and paste it to your website to give your users the searching functionality they need. Another solution for this as well is using plugins, applications that have smart search engines, and you could directly use it and integrate it in your website so that users could find whatever they search easily. Let's see an example of the screen record of a website that we have developed. So as you can see, the search icon, when you click, then the full search bar appears. User could search, type in whatever they want, and then that's the results, and you could see the results. You could shop easily. Point number 12 is forgetting about SEO. SEO is something that is not visible for the user, but it's very important for your search engine. While SEO is an ongoing process, you should always and always update your SEO. It is so important that when building a website, this is something you consider doing your research on. What kind of research? You need to do your research on the keywords, what keywords your customers are using, and hence those keywords needs to be implemented in your website, either on-page SEO or off-page SEO. For your website to be found in search engines, you do need to have metadata that uses your keywords and is based on how your audience searches for your products or services. So you need to do your research and pick the important keywords, and those keywords need to be implemented whether in your content pages. It could be either implemented and used in your product descriptions. You could even use it through offsite SEO, which is SEO from the back end. So from the meta description, everything is matched. You can see as an example here, what is a meta description? When you type in any website in Google, there's a short description that appears below. So you need to have a meta description, not only for your products and for the pages, but even for your website. So for the homepage, you need to have a meta description for that. Point 13 is difficult navigation. If your navigation is not straightforward and the users won't find most of the things in the navigation, then they will just bounce back. If the links are hard to find and buttons are not visible, your visitors will go through your website in circles. So they will just go in circles, and then at the end, they won't find what they need and they will just bounce back. So navigation is simple, so don't overcomplicate it. It should be very simple. Don't include several things in the navigation. We don't want to see a lot of things happening, coming, like a video or something in the navigation or in the drop down or in the there are several types of navigation. So you don't want to actually overcomplicate it. Just keep it simple, straightforward. Use your main menu as a way for your audience to navigate. Use simple text and avoid using anything too high tech. especially if your target customers is someone who is not tech savvy. You need to consider, yes, maybe you are aware of the technology and of a very complex functionality, but a lot of users, they're not aware of that. And you are building your website for them, which takes us back to the point where we said you need to put your customers' need as priority one. Let's see this reference website that we have built. It's having a very straightforward navigation and very simple. So when you click on menu, everything is here as you can see. It's very simple, very visible, and easy to navigate. Point number 14 is missing video. You need to have video in your e-commerce website in order to um, have more visuals in your website. So 51.9 of marketing professionals worldwide name video as the type of content with the best ROI. So ROI means return on investments. So videos will actually it's like a return of investment as you are investing on it, and at the end it will get you back money and payment and profit. So if over 50% of marketing professionals say this, then videos should be a huge part of content on your website. If you don't have videos in your website, after this course, think of integrating a video in your e-commerce website. When creating video, always edit the video. So it should as well, you should still consider that the video needs to be web compressed. We don't want to compromise with the loading speed of the website. So you could use tools like iMovie Maker or Windows Movie Maker, or even you could just ask an agency to create a video and to edit a video for you. Let's see this as an example. So you can see the video. It's actually showing more about the brand. So you will know that this brand, you can see the products from the video, how they're working, their working environment. So it's just something that attracts your customers. Point 15 is no call to action. That's a huge mistake to have in your e-commerce website. So if you want someone to sign up to receive email marketing from you, or you want someone to share your content with their audience, call to action button needs to be integrated into the build of your website. You need to think that the call to action is part of the design. What do I mean by call to action? Whether it's links that you're having text with an underline or actual buttons, so something for your customer to action on it. So solution, you need to add call to action buttons to your website plan so that these are part of the design and not an afterthought. Let's see this as an example. So you see in here, we are having add to cart button, shop now button, which is call to action. We here have call to action. So wherever you scroll, you're having call to actions to actually have it functioning. And here in this example, you can see in the announcement bar, they have highlighted that they are having buy two, get one free. And aside from that as well, if you highlight it and it's not clickable, then it does not make any sense. What they did is they've created a hero banner with the same text, and you could click, and hence you could directly reveal this offer easily. So now let's go through software examples. This example is very, let's say you could use it and it's very nice. Actually, it's interesting. If you're selling a very expensive products and items, so it's basically shows you the product in 3D. It's called capacity.com. You can see the URL. Let's see the video in here. So users could just, as you can see, rotate the product and see the product in 3D. That's something important if you're selling expensive products, as you want to convince your users of your products, and having the ability for the user to see the item in 3D, then this will give them the comfort that the item is having a high quality from all directions. That's another software as well. It's called Loomis. So it's a product designer. This product or this application is actually you could use it if you're having print services store. So if your website is that you're doing customizable shirts or mugs or whatever that based on printing specific images and text, then you could check this out. As you can see in here, you are dragging the actual image, placing it in your shirt, and voila, you're having your shirt already customized in front of you. So it's very straightforward to the users to decide what they want. Another application is push out application. So this application will show notifications in the screen of your customers, and hence it's like a push notifications. So it's part of marketing. It's a smart marketing, as if, let's say, a user left something in their abandoned cart, then a pop-up will appear, hey, you've left something in your cart, please proceed. And so that's an example. So just to show you about, just to brief you about the actual application, there's abandoned cart reminders. You click, you customize. As you can see, there's a lot you can see here. That's the push out. So whenever you click, you're having those kind of notifications. So it's very smart, as users won't forget. Let's say if I was purchasing something from your website and I directly left your website just to check on something else, I forgot that I actually purchased from you, and having this application will remind me. Smile.io is an application that we use it for a loyalty program. You could use it to actually set your ways of redeem, set the ways of earn as well, and you could set the points. So you are actually setting your loyalty program and integrating it. We have spoken about the importance of loyalty program in our previous webinars, how important it is to have it in your e-commerce business, and this application serves the need. Last point is focusing on targeted users via localization. I don't want to take longer. I'll just explain it briefly, as I've already explained it in our previous webinar. So what is localization? Localization is actually focusing on targeted customers, and you need to make sure that your website is built accordingly. If your website, you can see here an example, Starbucks from the UK, Starbucks Japan. Japan people likes to see promotion, so the full website need to be designed in a way that it is in a promotional way, and as if you are selling a promotion. UK, everything should be straightforward. The navigation should be horizontal. However, in Japan, it should be vertical. So not only the layout, in this course, so what I've just explained now was part of our previous webinar, but in this course, the things that you need to avoid and how to actually localize your website, I would like to explain to you about a currency converter as an example. So localization means that you are focusing on your targeted customers. If your customers are from UAE, KSA, and the GCC country, let's say, you need to make sure that you're having a currency converter on your website that serves the action users want, or they feel more comfortable purchasing from a store by reviewing the actual currencies of their country or where they are living in. So it won't make sense if I can see if I'm someone from UAE and I'm purchasing from your website, but your website is showing me prices in dollars. Let's say I won't be able to relate very quickly, so I would prefer another e-commerce website having a UAE or an AED currency. So it's important to have a currency converter in your website. That's as an example of how you could actually localize your website to fit your targeted audience. Another example here of the homepage and how it looks like. Even it's not only about the currency, the store currency of your website or multi-currency viewer, but it's also about how you design your page. So this is something that you need to consider. If you will go back to point, I think it was point 8, not prioritizing the user's need. So you need to prioritize your user's need in order to think where they are. So when you know where they are located, you will be able to know what they want and how they are visualizing the website, and hence you will do so. By this, we have completed today's webinar. I hope it was helpful and useful for you. Now I'll just go through the questions to see if I've missed anything. And let me know as well if you are having any questions, please. I'm here to answer your questions. Can I get the presentation? Yes, the presentation, the full webinar will be recorded. So you could visit the TRA Academy website to check the recorded session, and it will still be there on YouTube, so you could still access it. Any other questions? Please share it again with me if you would like to share with us your, let's say, an experience or any comments that you would like to share. Please do so. Could you please repeat point four? As I said, the website will be repeated, but I could just recorded. I could just take you quickly over point five. Point five was actually not thinking about mobile, so it's very important to think about mobile design and functionality as well. So your website should be mobile responsive. That's slide number five. So your website should be mobile responsive, and in the design and functionality of your website, you need to consider of how it will look and function in your mobile. So you should have the approach of mobile first approach and not desktop first approach. Which is suitable, website or app on mobile? Okay, that's a good question actually. Now let's think together. If you have directly started an application without a website, you need to first start small and then grow. That's how let's say the success ladder goes. First of all, you need to have a website to build an application. If you will build an application in scratch or from scratch and your users don't know actually about the application, then you will spend a lot, and at the end, it won't be, I'll not your users won't actually find it easily. So the best way to approach this is to first have a website. When you have a website, you will market, and then you will try to work as hard as you can to educate customers about your brand, and so that your customers are aware of who you are and what you are selling. Only then you could have an application. Except, and especially, or let's just have an exception, if you are planning to grow wide very quickly, and if you do have the budget for a very huge marketing campaigns, then you could start with an application first. But what we usually suggest for all new businesses is to start small with an e-commerce website. An e-commerce website, as I said, it should be mobile and desktop responsive. So don't worry if you're having a website and not an application. Your customers will still be able to visit your website through their mobile phone, as you need to design it in a way that it is mobile responsive, and hence you could even design it in a way that it somehow looks like an application. And once your customers and your users know more about your brand, then you could directly, of course, integrate or have your application developed. What come for different, you recommend different layouts? Okay, so one have mentioned, or someone have mentioned, how come for different countries you recommend different layout for website? It's not different countries, but maybe you could consider different regions. If it's in the GCC country, as I said, you need to have a currency converter, let's say. So if you're selling through worldwide, you could still have one e-commerce website, but how to have the best out of it is to build your store based on your localization. So as an example, Japan and UK, they're two different regions, totally two different audience. The way they think it's totally different, and the way they approach e-commerce is different. Those two examples were from two different regions, and hence you need to match with the way of how they are used to purchase, or how they are used to actually serve an e-commerce website. That's something that you need to consider. If you are planning, or if you are starting your business in UAE and you are planning to expand to Japan, and let's say both websites are having the exact same layout, it won't be very successful in Japan. Why? It's not straightforward for them. They are having a lot of other websites in the region that serves their need and the way that they like, or the way that they prefer surfing, or navigating through a website, and hence it won't be very successful in Japan, but it will be successful in UAE, as you have built your website targeted to the UAE customer, and the layout of your website is based on that. Another example, let's say if you're building a website and you want to ship from to the GCC countries. As an example that we have showed you in Oud Milano, they're having several stores for each GCC country. What they are doing in the hero banners, they are usually marketing more, they are using more visuals that relates to the country. Having different stores for different countries of your website, it's very important if you're planning to grow, to expand, and to grow very successful. So as an example, if you're having one store, let's take an example that you're having one store, you're selling to the GCC country, and you're having the National Day holiday in the UAE. You would like to give the offer only to those people in the UAE. The hero banner should be changed as well to the UAE flag, so you are highlighting more the National Day or events or anything that is happening specifically to that country. If in the same time you're having something for the KSA or any other bill or any other store, or I mean any other country, you won't be able to do so. Or as another words as well, if you are your targeted users are from UAE, KSA, and Oman as an example, you're having something to highlight for KSA event. Um, then if you will highlight it in a website, UAE users won't feel that related, because it's something that does not relate to the country where they are living. So that's another example of why it is important to have different layouts and different content for different stores. Let me know, please, if this made sense to you and if it answered your questions. Another question. Soft copy unfortunately won't be sent to you, but you could still go through the full webinar. As I said, it will be recorded. So whatever you want, you could just visit the YouTube video again, or even visit TRA Academy website, and you could recheck and revisit the full video. If there's a slide that you felt it's important, just take a screenshot and save it in your PC. What provider site do you recommend me to host my website as it's fully released to launch? There are a lot of domain service that you could use. You could check. A lot of people they use GoDaddy. You could check GoDaddy, or you could as well check Itisala domains. So there are several domains here in the UAE. It depends actually in where you are located, but I'm just giving you an example of a domain service that we usually use for our clients and customers. How do we integrate security of the buyer in our website when they purchase and pay an items? Okay, so security when you are paying, or let's say checkout security, actually relates on two things. First, it relates on the platform that you are using. So the e-commerce platform that you are using should provide you with full security, and it should be secure. If you are hosting, if you are using a e-commerce platform that has low security, then you need to change that. Point two is the payment gateway. You need to select a trusted payment gateway, as payment gateway will provide the security that you need. So it's two things. the e-commerce platform and the payment gateway. Those two needs to be trusted partners, that you trust them, and you need to read reviews, of course, ask people about them and test it by yourself to see the security of both of them. So both of them needs to be secure, because those two parties are the ones that will provide security for your customers. Thank you so much for all of the comments. Thank you so much for the questions as well. The questions were very to the point, and I hope this webinar was useful to you. Before we just wrap it up, though, these are the services that we do. So we do UI UX design, web development, app development, consultancy as well, training, as you can see, data integration, and digital marketing. Now, if you have any questions, or if you would like to reach to us, please contact us through this phone number and through this email address. And you could as well, don't forget to follow us on our Instagram, as we usually post all new blogs and webinars in our Instagram. Thank you so much. It was always a pleasure having the webinar with you. You're such a great audience, and see you soon. Bye bye.